What do you think of Saturday?
Saturday, man. Offensive side of the ball, we kind of struggled a little bit in the first half, but, we kept the energy up, kept the intensity up on the sideline, and, that pretty much showed throughout the rest of the scrimmage.
You feel different now? You're old, man. You're 18.
Nah, not too much different, man, but I definitely feel like things are slowing down for me.
What did you learn about sort of handling the pressure of last season when it came to teams focusing on you, sort of rising up from maybe being unexpected to take on that role, but
I mean, just taking the role of, being a decoy sometimes and, just helping out the offense the best way I can, to win games, If I got to go clear it out, for somebody else to get open, or if I got to go, get somebody else open, that's my job. As a receiver, we not selfish like that, so try to get people open.
Nick, what excites you about this receiver group as a whole when you look at it?
Man, it's real explosive. Like, we got guys that can move around, X, H, Z. We can put anybody anywhere in our receiver room, man. We just got so much versatility. It's insane.
I feel like you guys can be the type of unit that's like week in, week out can be a problem for defenses as a collective.
Yeah, because we can throw in a couple combos, different type of lineups, and I'm excited for this year.
When did you get the playbook before you got here, and how much time did you spend going into last year with it, and how much more time did you spend this?
So I would say, my freshman year, just being a freshman, I was in the playbook as much as I can. And then we had a few tweaks, this year, changed a little bit of stuff up. So, I'm in it just like last year. I got to study, just knowing different positions and their jobs and duties, and just trying to figure out, how can I, maximize, my potential on the offense.
What's more important for a receiver, knowing all the trees and everything that come with that playbook, or the physical side of it?
I would say a little bit of both, but most definitely you want to, it's really just the coverages. You want to, you probably run the same play against a few different coverages. So, you'll probably have like a dig route, and you got to run outside the corner, cover two. You got different coverages and different ways to run routes. So it's really just perfecting routes, running them off different coverages, and, just getting looks for that.
How's Aiden different this year?
He stepped up, man, big time. He's leading the offense even more than he did last year, a little more vocal. The energy is still felt, and you can feel that he means business, and he's been showing that all camp.
Do you see a new maturity?
Yeah, most definitely. It's still he's here and there, but he keeps it pretty simple.
Seems like Alessio's built a lot of trust from everything we've heard. What are you noticing from him?
Man, last year, just watching him practice and see how much he wanted it, coming out this fall camp, I think he really, put himself out there. I've seen a bit of that last year, but this year he's definitely showing it.
You had a chance to be a lot of places right now. Why are you here?
Man, it's home. I could have been anywhere else, but I don't think it would have planned out like this. I was just having a conversation with a few other guys getting recruited by, a few other schools, and I may be overlooked or underrated, but I think that was God giving me the, the signal to come home. And, I'm grateful for that.
What's the emotion to do that? To pick the place you want to be at and feel like it's clicked.
I mean, it's a lot. I got so much support here, so much family. My teammates. We're just getting closer and closer day out, and it's a lot of emotion behind that. It just makes you take a step back and look at things differently, and just be happy to be here and be blessed.
What have you seen with Braylon, and you being in his shoes a year ago? Have you been kind of guiding him?
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Braylon, he's a dog, young dog, and he has a few mistakes here and there, but I'm there to back him up to make sure he can maximize his potential. Knowing the playbook, knowing how to run routes against different coverages, and he's picking up pretty fast. So pretty proud of that guy right now.
I know you said there are times you'll be a decoy and you're okay with that. How much do you dream of being the centerpiece of this offense in maybe 1,000-yard season?
Man, it's a dream every night. I was dreaming about the season, the first game. That's been on my mind all year, and this moment is actually coming pretty soon. So, my thing is, just do whatever I can do to make the team better. And 1,000 yards, we're definitely trying to get that this season.
What do you tell the new guys about Spartan football?
It's a dogfight. It's a dogfight. Recently we just talked about what a Spartan is, and the more committed we are, the more connected we are, and a Spartan's true power comes from the man next to him. So we've been preaching on that, and I think the guys are finally starting to click, and once we start doing that, you see the energy's different. We're starting to execute more, and things are starting to click for us.
When Randy was asked about who the best blocker in the wide receiver room was, he said it was you, and it's an energy thing. Do you take pride in that?
I definitely do. Not just catching the ball helps the team out. We got a lot of run game stuff, and that one block can be a big difference to the run game. Just going to get the safety or taking the corner out to play. And we preach on that. We're a run heavy football team, and I love to do nothing else but help the team out as much as I can.
I know you committed a year and a half ago, but when did you first feel like a Spartan? Was there a turning point? Was there a time?
2021 against the school down the road, that kind of made my decision there. Just being here at that game, seeing Kenneth go for 5, and just seeing the energy, Chuck interception at the end, and then I just realized how lit the city was, and how uplifting it was after the game. And I was like, man, this is the place I can be. And I just coming here, I seen a little bit of drought as that 2021 team started to disperse. And I wanted to come back to East Lansing and be that uplifting again.
Is that day kind of when you made your decision?
Yes, most definitely.
How do you get it back to that energy level? Not inside the program, but outside the program.
I mean, it got to be some type of trust. They trusting us to do our job inside of here. They're supporting us on the outside. So just keep that in the back of our heads. And that got a lot of people depending on us to be great this year. So we're just doing everything that we can to be great inside here, so we can show it on the field.
Is that hard to sort of, I guess, for that to materialize, like for you to realize that? Because it seemed like at times like Aiden last year would maybe be frustrated with some of the outside noise and things like that. Like, when does that sort of set in for you guys, that it's like, you just got to do what you can do?
I mean, I would really say at practice, we go against the defense, and sometimes it's looking pretty rough. But we know at the end of the day, if we can beat something this hard, when we get in the game, it should be easier. So, we keep that in the back of our heads every day. We got defense scripted against us, and we got our back against the walls. And if we can fight out of that, we can fight out of anything. And I'm pretty sure that's our mindset throughout the whole season.
Anything Omari's taught you, Nick, that you kind of added to your
Did you say that
game?
again?
Omari, has he taught you anything? He's a veteran guy. I think caught him savvy or something here earlier. Is there anything that he's shown you that you kind of added to your game?
How to be a dog. I'm a little bit on the quieter side, and not talking much, but he gets me chippy a little bit, gets me riled up, and I talk a little bit of mess to the defense again. So I would say that part of it.
You want to return punts?
Yeah. I thought about it. I got back there a little bit.
Courtney,
I'm catching some, so I'm looking forward to it.
when you saw that Politnikov watch list, did you laugh? Did you shake your head, or did you say, yeah, I'll show you?
A little bit of all three. My teammates are on there. I'm proud of them and happy for them. If they on the Politnikov award, that probably takes some pressure off of me during the season. But probably other teams start eyeing those guys a little bit more. But I'm definitely grateful to even be anywhere near it. So
Are you the best player ever to have two teammates on that list?
yeah, I would say so.
You guys talk about what a run game could do for you guys in the pass game? That was an area last year that we've heard a lot about trying to get improved.
Yeah.
Whatever you've seen in scrimmage, is that something that you guys as receivers look at and be like, man, if we could get a play action or whatever going?
This last scrimmage that just passed, man, we threw the ball quite, and then when we came to run game, man, the running backs were just running their tails off, and Mekhi Frazier and Brandon Tellers was the 1-2 punch during the scrimmage. So just knowing that I came into class with those guys and see how much they grinded to actually be at that position and do what they're doing, man. So it's a blessing to see, and I think those guys are gonna set it off for us.
Bit of a scenario, but let's say there's someone who's never watched a college football game in their life, moved to the U.S. or something like that. They're gonna watch a football team. They're gonna pick a fandom. Why should they pick Michigan State?
Because we're the underdogs. You always want to see the underdogs win. So I would say that.
Are there any guys in particular you love lining up against in practice?
Defense. Defensively, I love lining up against Josh Eaton, AB, and Andrew Brinson. We got Najee Burt. Who else? And then the young guy, Aiden West. He's pretty nice, man. He's gonna be real good.
If you're going to be teaching the young receivers, what could your mom teach you other parents?
Adversity. I think she could teach them adversity. Some of the young guys may get to college, may not get the playing time that they want, or may not see fit. But as long as you keep your head down, I would say the scenario for me. First game of the season last year, didn't touch the field too much, and then the next game broke some records. So I would say adversity.
Nick, who's the guy that gives you the most trouble of those DBs?
The guy that gives me the most trouble. Let's see. Oh wait, yeah, I left somebody out. Malcolm Bell. I would say Malcolm Bell gives me the most trouble actually. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.